The title of this video could potentially come back and bite me in the butt, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Now that we've got the chin add-on on the car, we can actually start making a proper lip splitter. But first, I gotta fix this. So let's get the car up on the ramps, fix where it's sagging, and then I'll take you guys up under the car to show you the plan of how we're gonna mount the lip splitter. All right, first of all, you're gonna have to pardon the 30 frames a second in this segment of the video. That's the only way my camera will let me record in wide frame mode so I can show you this. I did a bunch of stuff yesterday and literally none of it mattered. And I'll get on to what I'm talking about later, but that also explains the change of shorts because it is a day later. So the plan currently is to tie into this crash bar. It is structural. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill and put a rivet nut here. And I'm going to drill and put a rivet nut on the other side of this here into the same crash bar, and then equally on the other side. And then is to put studs in those 5 10mm bolts right there. So let's go ahead and get those cut and then installed in the car, and then I'll bring you back up under here to show you exactly what I did. All right, as you can see here, I've got 2 5-inch studs of M6 and then 3 10.5-inch studs of M6 for the backwards and forward section respectively. So let's get up under the car, drill and insert some rivnuts, and then we can actually put these studs in to go ahead and start measuring for the splitter itself. Yikes. Here's what we got so far. Right. We got our studs drilled and riv nutted into this crash bar. So now they're nice and secure and should be able to hold plenty of weight. And then we got the 2 studs back here to support it at the back. And then we got the number 9 by 5-inch long screws in over there. And of course, everything's not screwed in all the way, but you get the idea of how things are going to be laid out here. To start off with the lip splitter, we need a piece of plywood that is 64 inches by 30 inches. So I got some bricks laid out and some plywood ready to go. So let's go ahead and get it cut out. Janky, but it is. All right. Got our piece of plywood cut out to size. Now when it's on the car, then we can shape it to be, contoured with the bumper. But I figured it would be a lot easier to get it cut out, bolted on the car, and then we can work on shaping it with the jigsaw. So let's go ahead and go back to the front of the car, and I'll show you how I'm going to make a template to drill the holes to mount it. Before drilling the mounting holes, I decided to take the splitter, or what will become the splitter, wet it with a garden hose, and then weigh it down flat on the concrete and let it dry with a fan to make sure it's nice and flat. So the plan is to use this piece of cardboard to push up against the studs and break the studs through the cardboard to make a template of where to drill the holes on the actual lip splitter itself. However, this piece of cardboard is an inch too short, but that shouldn't matter because I should just be able to mark the center of it where it's going to be in the splitter, line it up, push it through, and then that'll be fine. So let's go ahead and get on that. All right. Good old cardboard aided design never fails. So, now that we got our holes drilled, let's get the splitter mounted on the car to check for fitment, and then also so that we can trace out the curvature on the front here. I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. This piece of plywood you saw in the last clip, I cut it too short lengthwise. So I spent the rest of yesterday pretty much getting a new one cut out to be the right width, or at least longer, so I can trim it back. And then my idea of taking the cardboard, slamming it up against the studs, worked pretty much perfectly to make a template, and then it bolted right up, and here we are. If you recall back to the very beginning of this video, I said I did a whole bunch of stuff that didn't matter. This is the point of the video where it matters now. So first order of business. This add-on chin right here is just this part cut off at this seam, flipped upside down, and bolted onto the car. The distance from this seam to the bottom of the bumper is 3 inches, and then from the bottom of the bumper to the ground when the car is sitting level is about 10 inches. So 10 minus 3 is 7. The problem then becomes that this distance right here to the ground is 6 inches when the car is level, because this seam is cut level with the side skirts that are also 6 inches from the ground. So this splitter, in the state that it's in right this second, is very close to its final location, level with the ground when the car is level. And then there's a gap right here, as you can see. That's where this stuff comes in. It's been off frame. You might have noticed it, and I've just been completely ignoring it up until this point because it's been really difficult to explain otherwise. This is landscape edging. This is the 4-inch tall stuff. And it'll get bolted right here to cover up this gap all the way around. Then we also have these splitter tunnels. You might have noticed I have trimmed the factory air dam underneath the car in some places to accommodate these. These will be super easy to install, just cutting a rectangle out of the splitter and self-tapping them into place. So let's go ahead and get this stuff on the car, get it marked out, and then get the actual curvature of the splitter marked out and cut. And then we can wash it, paint it, and then put it back on the car. All right, it did start raining, but I soldiered on in the rain. If you want to see another video on what happens when a body filler gets wet in the iCard, we got the lip splitter cut out and we got the edge rounded, and then I also got the splitter tunnels location marked out under the car. So now let's get this thing off the car. Let's get it clean. Let's get it dry. And then we need to fill in a little couple spots from where we chipped it. And then we can go ahead and start getting it painted and then get it back on the car for good, hopefully. Well, the splitter looks really good. I will spare you guys the footage of me waterproofing it and painting it, but what I will not spare you the footage of is me putting this air dam on. It was really simple. I traced out the line earlier in the car and then just screwed it in place, and then used staples to staple the little tabs down in the back, and it was really simple. And then I got on to painting the rest of it, but I'm gonna leave the sticker on the front just because I think it's funny until I actually properly paint the car and it actually looks nice, and then I'll peel the sticker off. But now that we're done with this, the splitter can go back on the car permanently this time. We can get the splitter rods installed and then we'll be done. Whew. Now that we got the splitter rods on, we're looking pretty dang good. I originally ordered 4 splitter rods just because I thought I was going to use 4, but since those are still in the factory plastic, I'll probably return those. Need to finish tacking up that corner over there, and then need to actually install the winglets on the sides, and then we can get the car on the ground with the jack and see how she looks. So let's go ahead and get on both of those. One thing that I am going to do before we get the car off the jack stands is, I need to finish tightening these studs all the way back here. And then I'm actually going to get up under the car with an angle grinder and cut the excess of all the bolts off just to give me a smoother under tray. So let's go ahead and get on that, and then I'll show you. Alright, now that we got all the bolts tightened and Loctite on all the bolts, this sucker's nice and solid. I don't think that's going anywhere. So let's get the jack over here, let's get the car off the ramps, and let's see what it looks like on the ground, and then we can wrap things up. It's taken me a week to do this video since the last segment that you saw, and that's when the injury happened. I washed out and crashed on my electric scooter and got a bit of a road rash that you've seen. I figured I'd address this now because I know somebody's going to point it out. But let's go ahead and get the car off the ramps. Oh. There's one. Moment of truth. Let's see if the jack hits. The I'll let her down nice and easy. That jack just barely clears, baby. Oh. Oh yeah. That thing looks good. It's not perfect, but then again, neither is the rest of the car right now. And I have plenty of time to do fit and finish. If you made it to this point in the video, I'm assuming you liked it and I would very much ask for your subscription. If not, I bet you'll want to see what this 510cc big bore stroker Harbor Freight 420 Predator is going on. But until then, this has been the one and only Pickles signing off.